Hello, this is part 2 of doing our airport. Now, in the last episode, we just worked on putting down the airport, the foundations. In this episode, we're actually going to be focusing on connecting up this airport over to our main roads over here. We want to do some kind of highway bypass road that's going to get all of the traffic over here without interrupting these islands over here or going over here. So I've actually tried a few different things off camera and I've kind of decided what I want to do, and I'll give you guys the reason why. And what we're going to do is, now it's it's going to be a little bit controversial, and I know that there's going to be people who do not like this. Originally I was going to do one big tunnel that goes from here over to here, but I don't think this country could technically be able to afford it, since it is more of the poorer country. The other country could probably afford a huge tunnel that goes under a big bay area, but this country probably not so much. So what this country probably will have to do is build upon their existing foundation, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So I've gone through, I've tried out a few different designs, and the one that I'm going to use is this one right here. And right now it doesn't really look like much. I know it's all over the place, but I was just trying a few different things to see what I like the best and what's going to work. So what we're going to do is, instead of doing a tunnel or a separate bridge over here or a bridge next to it, we're just going to build upon what is already here. So we are pretty much just building an elevated road that goes over here. It's going to actually go, now this is the controversial part, it's going to come off here, and then it's going to go over these parts here. It's going to go over here, past these, and then over onto the ground area. So all this part here is going to be elevated, and that's going to be the controversial part. But I have seen this before in actual cities, so it's probably not too far from realistic, but it's just a controversial thing to do. But anyway, I've put this one along here. So this one is called the Bay Bridge Lower Deck 1. It's part of the Golden Gate Bridge assets. And I like this one because it's got like it's got a separate little area where you can put another road underneath. So it's just making it more compact. It's making it a little bit cleaner looking, you know what I mean? So instead of doing another bridge over there, it's just all here and it's all together. It looks tidier. So, oops. So we put it along here, and then I don't really know yet how I'm going to connect it over to here. It's probably just going to be just something basic. I don't think we have any more space to add anything over here anymore. Probably just do another connection over here as well. So it's going to look like a lot over here, but it's kind of just like what we have to do. And we have to add in the pillars along here ourselves. So let's just adjust some of these heights here, because it seems a little bit high through here, so we'll have to go through and fix up that, just like that. And then this one doesn't need to be extremely high either, because the trams are not super high. Oops, doesn't need to be that high. Where is that segment? There it is. There we go. And I have decided that I am going to go with buses connecting to the airport. There was a lot of feedback about it, but I just like the idea of a bus instead of a tram network. So obviously in the other airport that we'll do for the country over here, there will be better public transport. But over here, I'm not too concerned because it is a poorer country. Now, why don't we have electricity? Ah, that's why. I deleted the power lines. All good. That is all good. So from here, obviously we can't continue on the lower deck area. So we have to go with the single one like this that doesn't have any pillars, unfortunately. Let me just double check. No collision. It'll come basically over these areas like so. That's all right. What we can do is we'll have to wait for a boat to come in here, so then we can determine how high it needs to go. I don't really like how sharp that turn is, so I know it's controversial. It's controversial. That's probably better, because we don't want any super sharp turns around here. Oops, we don't want that to go down into the water. So I'm just going to let that play out. And I know there's no power at the moment, but I just need to see how high the boats are when they come in. But in the meantime, we shall continue this one along the side areas like this. And we'll have to demolish that building. I know. Oops, my bad. and then we'll leave this old little bridge here, and then it'll come over there and probably connect there somewhere. We'll also do a connection here for this area, and there'll also be connections for them to come off the main road and go back into this area if they need to for whatever reason. Yeah, so yeah, let's just wait and see for a boat to come in, because it's pretty high. One is coming in. Oh, we got one there as well. Perfect. So we'll use that as our height. So we'll get that pillar. We'll bring it right down. We want to go as low as we can. I think that's all right. If not, we can easily adjust it up anyway. And over here, it's also quite high, but we can bring it down a little bit, but it can't be so low that these trucks are going to hit it as well. So we have to keep that in mind. All of these are pretty much at the right height that I need. From here, it can start going down, obviously. Is that a little bit down there, or maybe it's just my eyes? Okay. When this is built and when we have our first vehicle going across, we can probably ride on that vehicle and double check the heights as well. Let's have a look at this. So I've just gone through, added some prop pillars down. I've placed them as strategic as I can. Some of them are only a certain length, so I couldn't really put them, for example, one here, because it wouldn't actually reach the water. So I've got one here, here, all along here. There's different shaped ones. Some of them are like L shaped, some are squares, some are kind of like H's, all the way. And then I kind of stop here. Some of them don't really touch, but I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it's just as long as it's there, because otherwise it looks a little bit funny without it. This is what it looks like from inside. So on the lower level, which will be the road for the local traffic, which is the traffic just going to and from the island and not going to the airport. So that's what it looks like. This one just pretty much glides straight over the top here. And then we'll add in some pretty simple connections over here that will allow them to completely bypass all of these areas. I'm okay if it's a little bit wonky. We'll have to slow down the speed. Oh, some pillars sticking out there. We'll fix that up. If it's a little bit wonky, that's fine. We'll just reduce the speed limits. But anything is going to be better than going through the island, because this island, it is pretty compact, and it's going to take them a while to get through. So that's why we really need this express road. Alright, so let's jump into a bit of a speed build. So we're going to be working on this intersection, which, oh my god, I actually really love this whole intersection. It's becoming really wild. There's lanes going everywhere. And you know what, I love that stuff, and I know a lot of you guys love seeing that stuff as well. So we're going to be building upon what is already there, so keeping in with the theme of what we're doing already, building upon what is already there. So we're going to be using certain lanes, adding on extra lanes here and there, but also we have to add in some designated single lanes that is specifically for going to and from the elevated road which goes to the airport. So this is going to be one of the entrance points back onto the highway, and then so this lane here that we're doing now, that'll go into Safed, and then the other one to the left there, that will go back towards the capital city and back towards pretty much everything else. So you'll notice that the highway, it kind of goes more towards Safed. I don't know why, it kind of just felt right to do it like that, but yeah, there's really no specific way why I did it like that, but it's just how it kind of worked out. And yeah, this intersection, oof, it's getting wild, it's getting crazy, but I like it. We got lanes going everywhere. We're actually going to have 3 level lanes. So we've got the ground one, which is the peninsular highway, and then we have the second highway here, which is for the airport. And then we're also going to have another one right on top here, which is going to be a lane going from the peninsular highway directly to the airport highway. So it starts to look like a lot, but I try to do it as neat as I can. And I'm just going through here and adding in some of the little lines that they really make the intersection look so good when you do those little lines, that's a mod that I reviewed a couple of videos ago. Really good mod to have. And I just love how it looks. Oh, it looks so good. So yeah, that's pretty much it, but we still need to add in the other single lane that will go around, which makes it look really, really busy. There isn't really much traffic in the speed build until we get right to the end of the video, when everything is going up and running and we have people visiting the airport. We have people actually using the airport. For a while there wasn't anyone using the airport, I don't know why, so I had to go through it and completely readjust all of the airplane routes. One downside with all of these lanes and highways that we're doing right here is there is kind of a lack of merging space. So the highway that we have here, the new one which goes to the airport, it is only a 4-lane road pretty much. So when we have a lane merging in, there really isn't room for a 3rd lane to be added in, because there isn't like a 3-lane pack that is similar to these roads that I'm using, if that makes sense. So we're kind of just stuck with what we have. So if you do notice that, it's just like a little downfall, but I mean, this country, it isn't the best overall, so I guess it kind of fits in. And what I'm doing here, I just thought that since this lane, it goes up pretty high because it has to go over both highways, so I pretty much just extended it back further so we have more space for the incline to go up and it isn't too sharp and crazy. And I thought, since we already have the lane going back to the capital, this new lane that I'm adjusting here, it needs to kind of be parallel to the other lane. So you can see I've kind of got them parallel there. And that's kind of like a secret. You have to have everything parallel. It makes it look so much better, and it also makes it smoother as well. It's easier on the eye as well. So that's kind of all. So that's kind of all that we're doing for this part. I just go through and add in some different themes on the ground, different like coal, oil, which kind of changes the color of the ground, which makes it a little bit more in depth. Anyway, meanwhile, over here at the airport, I updated the lower lane to, 3 lanes. Now, what we're going to do here is something completely different, and I haven't really seen anyone else do this, but maybe there is, I don't really care. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to add a 2nd lane right here, and this 2nd lane is going to be where the buses come in, drop people off, but also cars and taxis can use it if they want. Basically, all we're doing is just giving them more room, because all we have in the vanilla airport is just the lower lane there that comes in, and it's not really enough space, because you know how airports can be, they can get really, really busy. So what we're going to do, we're going to add this extra lane on top, and just to make it look a little bit more integrated into the airport, we're going to put these little tunnel props here. And the reason why I'm doing that is just because I want it to look like it's all part of the airport, but actually it's technically not part of it, but we're just going to hide it a little bit more. And in the elevated tunnel, I don't think I show it in the speed build, but what I do to actually connect it is I put a pedestrian road in there that connects from the top road down to the lower road, so they can actually use it. So when the buses come in, they can actually get off the bus and go down into the airport, because otherwise it's just going to be for appearance and it's not going to work. So I wanted to make sure that it does work. Now, since we did have this extra bit that's out here, I just added in a few more props here and there, some billboards, some doors, and some staircases as well, just to make it look like something's going on. It's not too fancy. I mean, this whole airport isn't fancy, but I just wanted to do something a little bit extra on these extra tunnels out here, just to make it look less weird, I suppose. And I might actually try to get these staircases to work, because I do have a invisible pathway that I can put down. Hopefully that'll work. So we're just going to make the entrance point here, and in my mind I was completely overthinking how to do all of it, and it took me a while to figure out what I want to do, because I was really overthinking it. But we're just going to go with something simple. I probably will do another airport in the other country, but that one's going to be a lot more fancier. It's going to be bigger, and we'll just have to see how that one turns out. So I'm not too concerned how this one looks. I just want it to work. That's pretty much it, because in the past I've always had issues with with my airports not working. I don't know why. So if we look at the design here, this roundabout, this is going to be purely for the traffic on the lower level and also the traffic coming into the parking areas. To make it look a little bit more compact, we have the road going off the roundabout under the ground, and then that'll go around to the lower level of the airport, and then we'll also do a separate lane that breaks off from the highway a little bit further back, which will be the elevated lanes and for the bus lanes as well. And where the elevated lanes come in between them, there's an awkward little gap, but I don't show it, but I'll show you guys at the end of the video. I don't show it in the speed build, but I just put in a car park in the middle, just because, I mean, it's always handy to have more car parks, and also it was an awkward space to put anything, and the train wasn't really working very well. These lanes right here, these are going to be the elevated lanes that go to obviously the elevated area, so for the buses, for the extra cars, and taxis as well. I tried to make it as smooth as possible, but it was a little bit difficult because it kind of snakes through, and you know how it is with the terrains and things. The roads can be very windy and wonky, so it did take some time to make it as smooth as possible. Now, I'm also having like a crazy thought that I kind of want to extend this airport a little bit as well. What I'm thinking of doing is actually adding in the cargo airport on the side of it somehow as well. So it's just a crazy thought, but I'm really considering doing it because I want this area to be really, really busy. Right now there's like nothing, and I'm kind of disappointed because I wanted there to be a lot of traffic coming in. But I think if we had the cargo airport over there, we can easily just add it in, because it's already there. We can just reclaim a little bit more land on the side of the existing airport, and I think it'll look really good and it'll really liven up the area. The only concern is that is it going to look too busy for the area, because it is going through a residential area back on Basrah Island. So just something I'm thinking about. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm really considering doing that because it is kind of like, it's crazy, it's outrageous, and that's exactly what I want to do in this country. Also right here, so this is the elevated road that I'm working on. I just wanted to make sure that they can go straight ahead, but they can also go back if they need to. So that's why I just put down some dotted lines that can indicate that they can go back around. And something else that I do off camera, I just add in a few extra designated bus lanes, which you guys will see at the end. And that is pretty much it. So I'm going to go fiddle around with it just a little bit more, make it more presentable, put in some grass, some fences, some hedges, things like that, make it look a little bit more polished, and then I'll show you guys the end product. So I hope you guys enjoy.